Hi, I'm Dan Murphy, and I'm here with a guest. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Sure, Dan, thank you so much for having me today. I'm Becky Grossman. I'm a Newton City Councilor and former Assistant District Attorney, but the job that I cherish most in my life is being a mom to my two kids, Madeline, who just turned 9, and Jack, who's 5. I am running for Congress with the fierce urgency of a mom who is fed up by what's going on in this country and determined to make change. I believe passionately that if we had more moms of young kids in Congress, it would change the conversation in Washington completely. Right now, out of 435 members of Congress, we only have 25 who are mothers of school-age children. And I really do think that if we had more, we would be able to really have those conversations about what safeguards the future for the generations to come, for all of our families, and to finally get serious about tackling serious challenges like the climate emergency, gun violence prevention, and how we're going to get families and businesses back on their feet as we're rebuilding an economy that works for everyone as we find our way out of the coronavirus crisis.
Okay, so do you feel that that was your main motivation to get involved in this race?
Absolutely. I am looking at this role through the lens of what is in the long-term best interest for families. And being a mom has been a huge part of that motivation. I first got interested and involved in politics as a young person myself when my own mom, who had never been active in politics formally, learned that our county legislators wanted to put an incinerator in the neighborhood that I grew up in. She gathered together with groups of neighbors, got organized, fought back, organized protests, and won. And she brought me along on that. And it really showed me what a small group of committed, passionate citizens can accomplish. Rolling the clock forward after Donald Trump was elected, in those first few days, like so many others, I was asking myself, what can I do to do more? If there's ever a time to step up and get in the fight, it's now. And that's when I ran for Newton City Council. I found it to be really meaningful and really impactful. And I feel that at this moment, I I'm even more certain that this is the time to step up, get in the fight, and stand up for what I know are shared values.
Okay, and how do you think that your time on Newton City Council has prepared you for this race?
Well, my time in Newton City Council has been working on those issues that have a tangible impact on people's quality of life. So issues like our school buildings, and I've had a particular focus on early childhood education in Newton and what the future of our preschool in Newton is going to look like. Those are the kinds of issues that directly impact and affect our community and individual and families' quality of life. I've also been asked to serve as the chair of our finance committee in Newton, which, as you can imagine, has been particularly impactful in these times as, like all of our communities and local and state governments, we're looking at how the impacts of coronavirus are going to um, change what we're able to offer and provide. And that experience is going to be very valuable in Washington as a member of Congress as well.
Okay, and so, I mean, I guess then, and also just, what are some of your goals should you get to Washington if you win this campaign and primary?
Well, first and foremost, I think we're going to have to figure out how we can rebuild an economy that works for everyone and help families and small businesses get back on their feet. And of course, take care of the health and safety of our communities as we're all finding our way through the coronavirus crisis. I'm also really focused on combating the climate emergency. And I think that what we faced in the coronavirus pandemic has really underscored the importance of tackling the long-term issues and not putting off that preparedness and response, but taking action now. So the climate emergency, gun violence prevention, And prescription drug costs are topics that I'm particularly passionate about. With respect to gun violence prevention, I mentioned earlier that my kids are, well, now 9 and 5. And when my son Jack started kindergarten back in the fall, in those first few weeks of school, I had to fumble to find the words to explain to him what it would mean to run in a zigzag pattern or find a quiet place to hide in his classroom if a school shooter were to show up there. That is not a conversation that any parent should have to have with their child, or a fear that any child should have to live with. And that's why I want to go to Washington and take on the NRA.
Yeah. No, so that's all really admirable. So how have you been campaigning during this time with the pandemic going on and all that?
Well, we have, of course, been using our other tools at our disposal, like online mediums and the phone, to continue having those important one-on-one interactions with voters. And, that's, of course, something that is really important in any campaign. So we're really trying to recreate those opportunities because we want to hear what's on people's minds, what people are going through, and be there as a resource for those out in the community. We've done that through tools like Zoom and Facebook, and I was really proud that our campaign was extremely quick and the first campaign in this race to really innovate along those lines and roll out a series of virtual town halls. And we're reaching out by phone as well, and really looking to connect with voters and hear what's on folks' minds, because we find people still really want to talk about the issues that were important before the coronavirus crisis are even more important now and are going to be on the other side of this. So, folks still want to have those conversations, and we really want to be there to connect with them.
Yeah, no, that's definitely true, and like that's sort of my next question is what opportunities do residents of Dover in particular have to reach out to you, or what efforts are you making to reach out to them, to listen to them now and also listen to them in the future?
Yes, well, I really appreciate that question, because I think it is deeply important to be a presence in each of the cities and towns in the 4th District as the next member of Congress. And um, absolutely, during this time of campaigning, we are readily available. I am readily available by phone, through our Facebook page, and a series of live town halls that we've done, through a series of different Zoom opportunities to connect with the campaign. And you can certainly find out about all of those opportunities by visiting our website, beckygrossman.com, our Facebook page, our Twitter account at Becky W. Grossman, and we're on Instagram as well. We would love for people to join us. In terms of once I'm elected to Congress, I am the only person in this race, to my knowledge, who has made a commitment to have office hours in each of the 34 cities and towns in this district in the first term that I'm elected. That's something that, as a Newton City Councilor, I had made a commitment to have office hours in my first term in each of the different wards in Newton, because I thought it was really important to put myself out there and make sure people knew they were welcome to come see me, and to really invite them into those conversations. I'm going to do the same thing as a member of Congress, and I'm very dedicated to being a real presence throughout this district, and hope that folks will always feel comfortable reaching out to me directly.
Okay, so well, I guess as I should ask, how have you felt the office hours have been beneficial for you in Newton?
Well, it's been incredibly beneficial to have the opportunity to have personal, face-to-face conversations with folks. We all know that topics in politics can be tough. There can be different opinions that, when you're communicating with somebody online or at some kind of a distance, it's different than having that conversation in person. And when you can sit down with somebody, the office hours I've done in Newton have often been over a cup of coffee or a slice of pizza or some frozen yogurt. You can really understand where somebody's coming from and have that exchange of ideas and backgrounds that helps you understand each other. And to me, that's what politics and making progress is all about, is finding that common ground, those common values, so that we can all work together on improving the quality of life for everybody, which is really what this is about.
Yeah, no, and I mean, and then the other thing, I think people really will relate to you as a mother. So I think I also have to ask, what
Yeah.
challenges have you faced with your children during this COVID-19 situation?
Well, I will admit it hasn't been easy, but my kids have been incredibly positive through this. My husband has been an absolute rock. He and I have supported each other in our various professional commitments through this. And, you know, we're committed to doing everything that we can to continue working very hard through this campaign. And my family has been incredibly supportive and cheering me on all the way. You know, of course, distance learning is tough and has presented challenges. Trying to help the kids to still have the social engagement and types of opportunities that you want kids to have is tough. And I think there's a real reality that for so many families out there, those supports, you know, frankly, that we haven't even had adequately, like quality, affordable childcare, which we know is not something that's available to everybody, and that has become even more pronounced in these times. You know, my family, we're incredibly fortunate. We're very grateful for what we have, and we're really focused on fighting for those needs that especially those families that are the most vulnerable among us have and need, not only in this pandemic and the times we're going through, but all the time, so that all of our kids have opportunities for advancement and success.
Yeah, no, that's really important. I just really just one last question of just what is there anything else you'd like to add or say before I conclude this interview?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, right now, out of 435 members of Congress, we only have 25 who are mothers of school age children. I believe that if we had 100 or 250 moms in Congress, it would change the conversation in Washington completely. I'm really proud to offer that perspective in this race. And I'm really grateful for the time and opportunity to speak with you today. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, great. And if people want more information, visit beckygrossman.com.
Yes, absolutely. As well as on Facebook, on Twitter at Becky W. Grossman. And we would really love to hear from everyone and be in touch regularly throughout this campaign and beyond.
And well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me, and good luck with your campaign.
Thank you so much.